a huge mistake. Recently, a bit more than a week ago, I wrote a theory video going over every cryptid that could make an appearance in episode 1 as the duo's first main cryptid hunt. But my stupid self did not comprehend the meaning of, I got some ideas I liked even more than the ones I wrote, not really sure how to approach them yet in videos, but I will be back to it. And I instead went ahead and wrote, recorded, and began editing the theory video. Cut to March 8th, 2026, and AdamAppled's releases a video on his YouTube channel titled More Cryptids.
What?
Hello everyone, it's SoSpends. We just got a huge lore dump on AdamAppled's main YouTube channel, as well as tiny details and key elements in his most recent short that reveal way more than we think. The release of this video, however, is unfortunately the cause of my first ever Otherside theory video never being published with the full video edited on my channel. Not saying that this is entirely scrapped, as I will be referencing some old theories from it that still match up with the new storyline. But today, I'll be analyzing and discussing the newest Otherside video in full. And with all the new concepts and major changes to the story, this is going to be a long video. I realized later into the script I haven't gone over the new information we have on the updated website in this video. Basically, we have the description telling us that Dan sold a soul to become a good writer and he has to do a scavenger hunt to get it back. Also, the creature guidebook is now unavailable, probably due to it literally not existing in the actual story anymore, and the treasures tab doesn't work for me either, it's just a white screen. Before we begin going frame by frame, I want to state the obvious things we know now. Cryptids are now called Othersidians, forgive me for my past 2 theory videos. The duo are no longer the hunters, forgive me please. And Clockmaster is now the confirmed main Othersidian for episode 1! I was so happy in the news because Clockmaster is my baby boy and I want to squish him. One thing I did mention in my scrapped theory video was the mushroom guy possibly playing a big part in the story. Considering how much we've seen this guy, I'm gonna assume we'll get a name for him soon enough, and maybe a theory video on him as well. I resorted to calling him Carl in the other one, so that's what I'll call him in this one. Lastly, Adam did mention that he will do a video on telling us more about Dan, and apparently George too, selling their souls to be a blood god. What? No, they're not gonna be a blood god. Selling their souls to a blood god. I am not making the same mistake again, so I will be avoiding any discussions on why, how, when, and etc. concerning the soul problem, because I know we will eventually get more information on that in the near future. But one more thing before we start. Clockmaster wants you to like and subscribe, it helps me a lot, okay, bye! Let's begin analyzing the video. The first very interesting things we see appear about 1.5 seconds into the video, where we get short flashes of supposed drawings Adam did while on an internet break. First, we see Dan disturbed, with sunflowers all over him. Now, we've seen a drawing of this before, with Dan walking through a place with the ground and sky of sunflowers. This is very possibly the first place he will have to start the scavenger hunt at. Dan's main symbol is also sunflowers, so we can assume that this little flower is going to have significant influence on the story, while representing Dan's main character and his arc in the story.
Dan's symbolism is sunflowers, so I'm gonna give him this little sunflower pillow.
The next picture is Dan laying on a hammock, and a notebook laying across his waist. This notebook is most likely a blank book Dan is using to try to write his own story. Apart from that, there's nothing really that we can expand on. The next drawing we see is one of Clockmaster, who is my child, in case you couldn't tell. It looks as though he's driving something metal, like a big machine or a boat or an automobile or a tank or a nuke launcher. He also has this uncanny maniacal look on his face, which leads me to believe that his obsession with building and making things can be taken a bit too far by him. The look in his eyes basically screams, I made this machine to run over your house, applaud me! And whether or not this drawing has anything to do with the story at all takes me 2 directions. If we do see something like this in the story, it could be a scenario where Clockmaster is going a bit insane, or he's just angry at something, very possibly being angry at the duo since he's now the confirmed Othersidian for episode 1. Or, if this is just a drawing, we could interpret this as Clockmaster just being a little too obsessed with inventing. The next drawing we see looks to be a meaningless little comic page, and again, we see Carl with his blank, soulless stare. Dan looks to be explaining something to George, but that's about all we can gather from this one. The last one is simply Dan wanting a chocolate bar from a vending machine and George yelling him to eat healthier and not waste his life savings on a piece of chocolate. Then, we get into the good stuff in the short. Adam goes on to explain 3 main and drastic concept changes for Otherside. The first one he mentions is also the title of the short, No More Cryptids. I know, it's okay, viewer, I got scared at those words too. But turns out he's not removing any of our children from the story, so you can relax now. Anyways, cryptids now have a confirmed name, Othersidians. I know some people were like, shouldn't the official name be Othersidians because that's what you called them in the old video that you made? And I feel like Adam was just so sure he was going to change their name that he just stated that it was a concept name and not an official name. But he worded it a bit weirdly, so a lot of people misinterpreted that. So the phrase No More Cryptids basically means that Demetra, a Gorgon, is never going to make an appearance in Otherside, and the Jackalopes might not either, which is actually kind of sad because I really liked the concepts for them. That also means that more original creatures we've seen blips of in past shorts, are now more likely to make an appearance in the story. Overall, this first concept change was small and didn't really impact my view on the story and my past theories as much. But this next change did. Apparently, the duo are no longer hunters. Instead, they sold their souls to a book/blood god and are sent on a mission because of this. I was actually really shocked at this news at first, because if the duo are no longer the famous hunters we had grown to know them to be, that means Dan's entire backstory and a bit of George's will have to be reworked to fit in with the story. Who knows? Now, humans could have never even been in the mysterious other side of the world before. Insert other side joke here, insert apology here. Anyways, the duo no longer being hunters basically tells us that most of AdamAppled's videos he created before this one are almost, if not all, completely useless. As everything he's told us before circles in on the main idea of cryptid hunting, we can now eliminate every video prior to this news talking about that one key fact. So this leaves us with a huge question. Will Othersidians serve as enemies or annoying things that get in the duo's way? Or will they serve as allies or companions in helping the duo complete their quest? Without leaning too much into the soul problem, we can think that some cryptids will very well serve as friends to the duo. Perhaps on a small part of the scavenger hunt, the duo save an Othersidian from getting hurt or captured by someone else, and that creature helps them along their way a bit. Or they help an Othersidian get something special that they lost back to them. The duo could make friends along the way, and consequentially, the Othersidians they helped or saved could return later to stand up for them or return the favor and save them. I could see this happening with a more soft/calm looking Othersidians, perhaps pacifist creatures who don't like violence at all. This would add comic relief and calming notions to the story. Now, the enemies! Of course, we already know that Twig is the main enemy of Otherside, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. The duo are definitely not on good terms with the Everbeing who has their lives, so if our heroes stumble upon a creature that possibly affiliates with Twig, that could get messy real fast, especially if the Othersidian is trying to ruin their mission. Or it could be simply an Othersidian has a fear of humans and wants to keep their distance, but Dan or George accidentally step too close, causing the Othersidian to panic and attack and or steal something from the duo. This could make unwanted enemies, some of which could simply have their actions or words misunderstood. And since hunters no exist anymore, the duo probably won't have any weapons to defend themselves with if, say, a very crafty Othersidian sneaks up from behind them with a nuke launcher. Moving on to probably what will turn out to be the longest section of this video, the last change. First off, I was right. I am so surprised and actually insanely happy. Look at this clip from my scrapped theory video. So, with the duo having to go everywhere across the new dimension, they're bound to run into some cryptids along the way. First, we'll be going over the cryptid who's quite literally the fandom's favorite child, the Clockmaster. It was actually Clockmaster, bro. I was right. I was right about something. I am very happy. Anyways, Clockmaster being the first Othersidian is amazing for the story, establishing a character who will be reoccurring and who will probably play a big role in the overarching storyline in the first episode will certainly be interesting. Like, what if the duo are searching on their mission, and Dan finds something particularly shiny that they need, and suddenly a short, fast, adorable Othersidean snatches it out of his hands and flipping books it into a village nearby or something. This could send the duo on a wild goose chase after a mischievous little creature who stole something that they need really badly. Clockmaster could maybe offer to build the duo some weapons, and in return, he gets to keep the shiny item. Then the duo would have to wonder, do they just agree and get weapons they really need, staying on this engineer's good side? Or do they steal the item back and make an enemy for life? Because things are often unpredictable on this other side of the world. Insert Otherside meme here, insert free fan art for your troubles here. Now, you may have noticed I have barely mentioned the amulet in this video. That's because right now, the amulet in my eyes is a sort of in-between place in the story. Like, the duo probably needs to use it, but Adam hasn't mentioned it in a while, and I was kinda assuming that Twig would have taken care of transporting the duo back and forth and helping them understand the Othersidean language and whatnot. But, just hypothetically, maybe if I refer back to an old theory that Clockmaster works for Twig, then Twig could be making the small creature try and ruin the mission/scavenger hunt on purpose, and steal the amulet to leave the duo trapped in the world because Twig needs the souls to recreate all his brethren because he's a lonely girl and it's a lonely world. And maybe if Clockmaster doesn't fully agree with Twig on sabotaging the mission because, hey, a deal's a deal, Twig could push Clockmaster to do more and more bad things and build more and more inventions to stop the duo. And suddenly, a creature who used to be the duo's enemy suddenly wants to be friends and side with them. This would make for a really good plot twist later in the story if in the first episode we see Clockmaster stealing or attacking the duo, but making it look like it's his choice. Then I highly doubt this next bit, but Clockmaster could just turn out to be a misunderstood Othersidean who's ignored or not taken seriously because of his love for machines. And he could offer to help the duo by making things to defend themselves with or inventing small trinkets that could help them find things better. But I doubt he'd do that without setting a price. I'm not asking for much, just your social security number. And that basically concludes the newest video that AdamAppled's released. At the very end, we do see another Carl drawing. And come to think of it, this squishable little fella has been appearing quite a lot recently. Maybe I'll make a theory video on him next. Hint, hint. To wrap up this video, I'd like to give a shout out to Adam for continuing to support me through my theory videos as I support him through his comic making journey. While some major changes did frustrate my theorist mind a bit, I liked the sudden surprise and being able to work through them and piece together clues from different videos, as well as past theories, into this one. If you guys have any theories you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Thanks for putting up with my repeated bad puns, thanks for watching, and so long and stay so spendy.
Let me out!
Oh.
Why not?
Because every time you take more than 3 steps, you get accused of murder, and I am getting an aneurysm.
Oh, come on, it's only been like 4 times.
The fact you think that's normal is actually scary.